The offseason is officially here, and we are going to give a blueprint for the Tennessee Titans on what we think they should do on offense, whether they should address this in the draft, free agency, or maybe both. Let's do it. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again for another fantastic Tennessee Titans Bros episode. I'm your host, per usual, Gabriel Pilcher, joined by whatever. This is Josiah. He's here as well.
Really good job, though.
I think I killed the opening every single time, if I'm being honest with you. Because, see, here's the thing. We used to record this on Skype. We would literally just do a Skype call. And then after the Skype call, we would just download the Skype call, cut off the end in the beginning, and then upload it. So if I started off like that, I would have absolutely just started over. But we're live now. We go live. So can't really do that. But anyways, unless you have something to say, I think we should just go ahead and jump right on in.
Just jump right in with both feet.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start. We'll save quarterback for the end just in case we get too long and drawn out on that one. So let's start off because we're just doing offense. Our next video is going to be on the defense. On offense, let's start running back. Do we address that in the draft, free agency, both, or technically an option I never thought about is neither?
Yeah, because some positions are just fine.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think about running back? At the moment, I think under contract, we have Tyjae Spears. We also have Tony Pollard.
It's weird because our running game did take a step back just because we didn't have Derrick Henry anymore, even though Tony Pollard wasn't awful. I feel like it's fine. It's good enough. If we had a better quarterback, one that would make the running game, I think, a little bit better, and we could also do some damage throwing the ball. But I just feel like the running game is good enough. It was Tony Pollard did eclipse 1,000 yards, didn't he? So yeah,
yes,
I'm okay with it. Again, I'm being spoiled here because I'm just used to our running backs getting 15, 16, 1,700 yards. But in all honesty, it wasn't bad.
In all honesty,
it wasn't bad. So I say leave that alone.
I would agree with you to leave it alone, but we do need our third running back, obviously, because like all the Julius Chestnuts of the world and whatnot are free agents now. I say get yourself a bigger / special teams type back, and I'm not really picky on how you address that. That can either be as a undrafted free agent or just any old free agent, just somebody. Yeah. I'll say preferably an undrafted free agent, somebody young who could have a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Just something like that. All right, but I agree with you. Leave it well enough alone. Tyjae Spears is absolutely good for a number 2. Tony Pollard was one of the only few bright spots we had on the offense last year.
I will say Tyjae Spears' health has scared me a little bit. Can he stay healthy? But
yeah, he dealt with that pretty bad last season.
Not to mention in college, but yeah.
Yeah, not to mention in college with the no ACLs or whatever they say. But anyways, that being said, let's go ahead and slide over. Try to knock out the quick positions first. We'll go ahead and move to tight end. I'll start this one off. And I can't believe I'm saying this on 2 positions in a row because we had a garbage offense last year. But I'm kind of okay with leaving that well enough alone as well, besides bringing in your yearly 1-year deal for a blocking tight end.
How many times have we done that?
So many times. But like we still have Chig under contract. We still have Josh Wiley under contract. They're fine. They're not amazing. They're not terrible. They're fine. So just leave them there and just plug in whatever blocking tight end again.
I will say, Chig every year is not bad, but every year I say I wish he could just be a smidge better, just step it up a little bit from going to, you're not bad to a name that everybody knows in the league, and maybe he's not that guy, but I keep wanting that. But like you said, it's not horrible position. It's fine. He does start off slow and gets better as the year goes on. He's done that
every single time. Every single time.
But every year I'm like, maybe this year he'll put it all together, and maybe this year he will. But maybe this is just who he is. But yeah, like you said, just get yourself, sign yourself a cheap blocking tight end because we need one of those. But other than that, keep it the way it is.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, which never lies, he had 450 as a rookie, 528 in his second year, 479 in his third. So he's just right there, 400 or 500 yards a season.
Which is not horrible, but I was hoping he could maybe get himself to be a 600-700 yard tight end. But also having crappy quarterbacks don't help.
I mean, but at the same time, not terrible for the fourth round.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Just kind of patch it there. I'm agreeing with you, agreeing with me. Just patch a blocking tight end on in there, and then call it a day. All right, let's move to the next group. We're kind of moving through this pretty quick. We're only 6 minutes in, and all we have left is offensive line, wide receivers, and quarterback. But I'm sure quarterback in itself will be a whole situation.
Probably. We know how to make a video go along, buddy.
We do, especially if people jump in and start commenting, and then we start talking to them. We're easily distracted. Wide receiver. It's a good question. What are you thinking?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but NWI is a free agent, right? If we don't sign him, right? So
and Tyler Boyd.
So
we need bodies.
I told you this before. Tyler Boyd, goodbye. I'm okay with that. NWI, so I guess that's a free agent right there. I wouldn't mind bringing him back. But I wouldn't mind a second round because you could find just ask the Chargers, ask the Chiefs. No, the Chiefs got Worthy in the first round, didn't they?
They did, but obviously it was late in the first.
Yeah, but ask a lot of teams. Ask a lot of teams. You could find yourself a good receiver in the second round, especially
AJ Brown.
Yeah, yes, especially early second round, pick 35, pick 36 kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And so I would be perfectly okay to do that. Let's make our second pick a receiver. That is probably what I'm going to.
I will say a lot of times it's always juicy. A lot of teams do it all the time. If we draft a quarterback in the first round,
get yourself a receiver.
Go your wide receiver with the next pick. We did that with Marcus Mariota and Dorial Green Beckham. And technically the Bears did it just last year with the Caleb Williams, and then 7 picks later picking up Rome Odunze, which he was just fine. I think he's like 750 yards, but not bad for a rookie with a struggling quarterback.
That whole offense was struggling, so we'll see what they do.
It shouldn't have. Keenan Allen, DJ Bourne, Rome Odunze as your wide receivers.
I don't know. I feel like the defensive head coaches have to have a bad offense. It's just what they do. I don't get it. But Ben Johnson's the OC, the head coach now, so we'll see what that looks like. But anyway, if you want bail news, this is not it. But I don't know. There you go. But I'll say this. But so that I would like a receiver in the second round, NWI free agency. So I guess I'm gonna go with both. And if we want to get ourselves another, doesn't have to be a high end, but another free agent, I'm okay with that because I don't know if it's enough just to get NWI and a second round. But
yeah, I honestly really like that idea. The two ways that it could go, if the Titans end up trading down, because like the Raiders want a quarterback, and they're picking I think like 6. Like if Titans end up picking or trading down to like 6, both quarterbacks go. Travis Hunter goes. Abdul Carter goes. We could take the number 1 wide receiver, Tech McMillan. If that happens, I ain't worried about free agency minus NWI. Like if we had NWI, Tech McMillan, and who's our number 1 guy?
Calvin Ridley.
Sheesh, Ridley. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, Calvin Ridley. Then that's a really good wide receiver core, and I'd be honestly kind of excited about it. However, I don't think us getting a first round wide receiver is really in the cards. So I think, which is fine. I kind of like your idea of getting a second round guy, especially if somebody who had a mid to late first round grade and he just kind of slides. I could be down with that.
We got pick 33, right?
I think it's 35. Because this is something I didn't know. It's something I didn't know. I actually heard it on A to Z Sports and they said it, and a lot of people don't know this. But if there's like 3 teams that are tied with record-wise, they actually keep switching in the draft. So like we have the first pick in the first round, but then we have the 3rd pick in the second round.
I'll take the first round. But yeah, I didn't know that. But anyway, 35 is still plenty early enough to get you, I think, a solid position because Ladd Conkley was picked 30-something, but I think it was past 35. So
yeah.
Which,
Because
by the
they
way,
picked fifth
last year, if you check this out, I said that I want Lad Conklin in the second round. Do you remember me saying that?
Lad McConkey. Yeah, I remember I said that was I said it over and over and over. Chargers had the perfect Titans draft. If Titans, I wanted Joe Alt, kind of. I was torn between him and Malik Neighbors.
But he had a good year.
Who's that, Joe Alt? Yeah, he did. But I was torn between Joe Alt and Malik Neighbors. They went pick 5 and 6, and we picked 7. But anyways, and in the second round, I was like, and Lad McConkey in the second round, if he slides to the second, that's a beautiful draft. They got them both. Joe Alt was the best rookie offensive lineman. In fact, he was just plain old good, just period. Even if he has a 6-year vet, he had a really good season as an offensive lineman. And then Lad McConkey had like 1,200 yards or something.
And then tore it up in the playoffs.
Tore it up in the playoffs. Yeah, then he had like almost 200 yards or something.
I think he did have 200 yards, maybe.
Which is insane.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, for some reason, that Justin Herbert decided to wet the bed that day.
He did.
Just picks. Like, all I think he either threw a good pass or a pick. There's no in between. There was no like just bad throws or anything like that. But yeah, that's honestly a very good plan.
I think 197.
197, close enough. I think we could if we did that, we could also bring in a vet. One of those vets that usually goes like for like 300 to 500 yards a season. Just bring in a vet like that just to kind of add to the room. I don't have any names in front of me right now that I could think of.
Just because somebody if someone gets hurt, you don't want to be completely devastated. So if you have a second round pick that you like and you have Calvin Ridley, that's a good mix. But you want, if one of those two go down, then you have somebody else that's okay. Well, you're not like, oh, that handicaps our receiving room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, maybe that's NWI. I don't know, but
could be. But he also gets forced into a roll over his head way too often because that's what happened to him in 2021. Julio Jones and AJ Brown were both in and out and in and out. There were several games where NWI was legitimately wide receiver one. Yep. And he has a role, he has a place, but when he's going up against a number one corner,
he's not that guy.
No, he's not that guy. But that's it for wide receiver. I kind of wish I had looked up some names, maybe.
Well, as the draft gets close, so we'll hit you more specifically.
Yeah, probably.
Specific. Oh my gosh, I can't talk.
That's a hard word. Specifically. Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. Got me there. All right. Let's see what else we got here. That's wide receiver. So let's move on into the second to last position group.
Are you doing O-line as a whole?
Yeah. We can start left to right. All right. First of all, one thing I'll say right now, we need depth all the way around. All the way around, because obviously we need starters. So I'm not even going to waste time saying, oh, I think we should bring in this guy to be our backup swing tackle.
I agree. That's kind of true with a lot of positions.
Because that's how I feel from left to center. From left to center, we need depth, but absolutely roll with Lloyd Cushenberry, J.C. Latham, Peter Skronsky. Agreed or disagreed?
I agree with all that.
Okay. On the right side, we briefly touched on this in our last video. I think we should either... Wish we had more than one second round or first round pick. Because that pick 35, if it does not get used on a wide receiver, might not be a bad idea to use that on a right tackle. But here's the thing. If we go quarterback in the first round, we also really are hurting for an edge rusher. And it's a deep edge rusher class, so that second round pick might be tempting to use as an edge rusher as well. That's why it's annoying that we don't have more picks. I really wish we had more picks. Because I don't know what to do with this right tackle position. Because here's the thing. I would say let's go after Trey Smith. That's what everyone wants to say. He's got the Kansas City and the Tennessee ties. He's got both of them. So let's make it happen. And that would be okay with that. We can absolutely afford him, get him in there. But there's a couple issues. One, he was one of 2 offensive linemen for the Chiefs that are actually good this year. So I don't know if I see them just letting him leave.
Dude, that would be dumb.
Because then they'll have 4 spots they honestly need to fill. And that's a good way to get your franchise quarterback unhappy and want traded out and just whatever else, is by just getting sacked over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I would say let's just do that. But then if we do draft a rookie right tackle in the second round, it's just a first round tackle is hard enough. And I don't want to neglect the position again. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, because Second round tackles are usually not that good. And the reason because you get so many tackles that go in the first round. So when you get to the second round, I mean, we're talking about the 10th, 11th, 12th best tackle now. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they get a little bit overdrafted these days. So a lot of times all the first round and some of the second round talent gets drafted in the first round. So when you're actually in the second round drafting, you're actually drafting like a third or fourth round.
I hate to say this, but I just think the Titans could get more bang out of the buck in that second round with a different position. So I feel like we need to address that or neglect it in either free agency or just neglect it, which that's horrible because we've done that for so many years now.
We can't do that. Like literally that right tackle, right guard has to be. It is killing us, and it needs to be the number one goal, honestly.
What's the free agency pool looks like?
The problem is there's some good solid tackles, but all of them are left. So it's whether you want to switch J.C. Latham to right. Because like Ronnie Stanley, he's first-round tackle, been for the Ravens this whole career. He's probably going to be a free agent. I would say he's like a league average, maybe slightly above league average. He's a good tackle. But he's a left tackle. So what would you rather do? Get a veteran who's played a lot of snaps at left there, keep him at left where he's used to, and then J.C. Latham, who played a whole season at left, now he's getting switched back to right? Or do you want your future tackle and J.C. Latham to stay where he was, getting all the practice at, and then ask an older veteran like Ronnie Stanley to play on the right side for his first time?
That does sound like trouble.
I'm kind of leaning. I'm kind of leaning more towards putting J.C. Latham back to the right because he played his whole college career at right.
Yeah. That's tough just because you don't want to mess up his development. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. But like, can you imagine if we had left tackle Ronnie Stanley, Peter Skronsky, Lloyd Cushenberry, Trey Smith, J.C. Latham?
Well, that would be good, but
things, it's a lot of money to shoot out or throw out at the offensive line.
What's the Chiefs guy name?
Trey Smith.
He's gonna fetch a pretty price though.
Yeah, probably close to $20 million a year.
Yeah, and like you said, honestly, I think the Chiefs would be dumb to let him go.
Yeah, we'll see if they do.
So that's a tough one. And I can't believe I'm about to say this because this annoys me a little bit.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
If we don't get a quarterback in the first pick, I say we get ourselves a right tackle in the first round.
The problem is the best tackles in the draft are left as well.
All of them's left?
Yeah, like Kelvin Banks.
So no right tackles exist?
There are no right tackles right now. Because, I'll be honest, now this is before I thought we would be anywhere near that first overall pick. I was like, Kelvin Banks is supposed to be basically just the best tackle in this draft, left tackle. And I was like, that's tempting. That's tempting to go tackle. But the problem is, if we do what I said and throw the money at Ronnie Stanley and throw the money at Trey Smith, it means out of the 5 offensive line positions, 3 of them are expensive free agents.
Yeah, that's usually
only 2 rookie contract guys.
The thing that scares me about Stanley, though, I will say, because I have a brother-in-law that's a Raven fan, so I hear this all the time. But Stanley isn't bad, but he gets hurt a lot, so that's another reason.
He'd fit right in then.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I think the more we talk about this, more I'm feeling like I think J.C. Latham is going to end on the right side.
He might have to. With the offseason, just the way everything is, it has to. And Mr. Mike Borgonzi, maybe he's throwing up some smoke screens, but he straight up said his number one goal right now is attacking the trenches, the offensive and defensive line. That's his number one goal right now.
I would say if J.C. Latham could go back to the right side without any issues, if we could draft on, even though drafting another offensive line sounds horrible, it really does.
Yeah.
But if we have, I just say whoever you want to put in, a good right tackle, Peter Skronsky, or I guess left tackle, I'm about to say, whoever the rookie you want to get, Peter Skronsky, Cushenberry, then you get the Chiefs guy. I can't remember.
Trey Smith.
Yeah, Smith. Smith is an easy name to remember. Why can't I remember that? Trey Smith, and then you get J.C. Latham, who plays well on the right side. That is a good offensive line, I think. But like you said, the thing is getting the offensive line 3 years in a row. That's really neglecting the skill position there and the quarterback. But
we got to do something now.
Yeah.
Especially on third down. Every third down. Didn't matter if it was Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, Mason Rudolph. You snap it and just immediately and they're just done.
Yep. They're done. But yeah, I think that's my, and I hate to say it because offensive line once again sounds boring. Because you gotta admit, when you draft whoever your first round quarterback is, you want to follow them in training camp. You want to follow them every snap of preseason. But when it's an offensive lineman, it's so boring. It is such a boring position to watch. But but I think that's my position, and you know this. We'll talk about this a lot later in other videos. I want a quarterback. No if, and buts. I know we disagree on that. I say you gotta stick, you gotta pick. But anyway, so I want a quarterback hands down. But if we are not getting a quarterback, I want a tackle, left tackle, and then you move JC Latham to right. I think that's my blueprint right now. That's what I feel. And then Trey Smith and guard. So I guess that's my answer too.
For me personally, that can only happen if we trade down, though, because sadly there is no elite.
Well, no,
tackle.
I agree with that. I guess I should be more specific. That one again got me. If we're not getting a quarterback, yes, trading down. And do you agree with this though? If we're trading down, we gotta stay top 10, and I prefer top 7. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like, don't trade down to 15 or 16. Don't do nothing stupid like
No,
that.
I don't think there's anybody way down there who's going to move up to get any of these
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
that's
It's possible one of them falls all the way down to 15 anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure you agree, but most people that's trading to get a quarterback. I mean, to go the top 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Browns, who knows what they're doing. So I think it'd be Giants at 3, and then you got the Raiders at 6, I think. Those would be the teams you got to keep an eye on. Yeah. So I would, if they give us a king's ransom, I'd absolutely be okay with trading down to 6. But we'll see. We can have more draft discussions later.
Yeah.
Actually, we might have some of it right now because we've kind of, by the way, bring Daniel Brunskill back. Whether he starts at center until Cushenberry's all the way healthy, or he's even our starting right guard. Like if we go ahead.
Here's my opinion on that. If we can't get Trey Smith, I am perfectly okay putting Brunskill at right guard.
I don't think they will because for some reason he was the backup center from the get-go. But yeah, I completely agree with you.
Hopefully we're not stupid anymore. We probably are, but that's
the problem is apparently Bill Callahan has a type. He likes big offensive linemen, and Daniel Brunskill's not big.
Brunskill's smaller.
Yeah, he's a small fella. Yeah. So I think that's what the issue is. But anyways. All right, now here's where the sparks may fly. Last position group of the day, quarterback, draft, free agency, or both. Go ahead, buddy. Shoot your shot.
Well, we might have to do both in the sense that if we let Mason Rudolph walk, is he a free agent or is he? Okay, so we might have to do
the way
both.
we don't do both. The way we don't do both is if we go for a Sam. Actually, I guess it's going to have to be both because even if we were to go for Aaron Rodgers or if we were to go for Kirk Cousins, I highly doubt they just let Will Levis be backup. I feel like Will Levis gets traded. Agreed?
Yeah, I don't.
So if that happens, we can't have just one quarterback in our quarterback room. So there's going to be a quarterback added in free agency at some point.
Yeah, I.
So basically, is that veteran free agent supposed to be your starter or not? That's the real question.
This is going to be a question for the ages for the Titans because honestly, I'm not being dramatic too with this, but this decision can set the franchise back or get us on our Super Bowl winning ways if head towards that direction. This is the question for the Titan franchise. You and I think I only remotely think you have a different opinion than me, but you have to get a quarterback because this is what's going to happen if this Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, and Kirk Cousins is the names that I hold. I'm sure there's other quarterbacks. All 3 of those will make us a better team than we are now, but none of those 3 will take us to the playoffs. So with those 3, we will miss the playoffs again, but we'll probably get a pick 7, 8, 9, or 10, maybe even 11 with those quarterbacks. So we won't get a quarterback. We will not get our future quarterback. Because people's like, well, if you don't love these quarterbacks, well, guess what? If you don't draft a quarterback this year, we're not going to get any quarterbacks the next year, unless we're getting second-round quarterbacks. So we have to get the quarterback now. Like it's now or never. So we either get ourselves a quarterback in the draft, or we're going to be forever destined for Ryan Tannehills and Derek Carrs and Aaron Rodgers. We're just going to be forever the bridge quarterback, which I am done with. It's time to get our guy, and you can decide which one you want. But I say you stick and you pick. That is my opinion, and I am sticking with that opinion. You have the floor.
There's one guy I wouldn't mind that I would probably get so much hate for saying if we go veteran wise. Did you know Kirk Cousins last
Oh,
year?
no.
I think it was 7-3 as a starter. Then he hurts his arm. After he hurts his arm, he goes for like 0 touchdowns and 8 picks, and they go 0 for 4 in those games. Then he gets benched.
Yeah,
If we go,
well, I
if
didn't
we
know the
go
exact
veteran, what?
So I didn't know the exact stats, but I woke up a Falcon fan, and he was just talking about that last week about how him getting hurt really do well this season. But go ahead.
Not just his season, but the Falcon season. Because think about
Yeah.
they're sitting there pretty at 7-3, and he was like 17 touchdowns, 7 picks, or something like that. Like he was just killing it, like he always does. Then he hurts his arm and then has no velocity on his throws and is just throwing picks. So that's an underrated guy because the whole thing I was like, oh, you want Sam Darnold? You want Sam Darnold or Derek Carr? And for me, I've been from the beginning, I am unbelievably out on Darnold. To me, if we go veteran, it's going to be a 1-year thing. Like if we go veteran quarterback, 1 year. If it's Aaron Rodgers, 1 year. If it's Kirk Cousins, 1 year. I am not giving any veteran quarterback a multi-year deal.
So what's the answer next year?
Well, here's the thing. And here's the thing. This year, basically, Shedeur Sanders is the one guy I was kind of like okay with us drafting. But sadly, as the scouts are scouting, his stock is dropping and dropping. They're saying, yeah, he's like mid first round to late first down, maybe even a second round pick type guy. But Cam Ward's is rising. I'm not a Cam Ward guy. I wasn't a Cam Ward guy because basically people say Cam Ward's just a better version of Will Levis. And I'm like, but I just want to stay so far away from that. That's why I also don't want Jameis Winston. So a lot of people say we should get Jameis Winston. No, because the number one thing we had last year was turnovers. Jameis Winston, no. So that's why because I was really getting to a point. I'm like, Shedeur Sanders. We might actually get some, prime time on the shows there. But if Cam Ward is just better, then we should take Cam Ward. But then I'm also thinking, Cam Ward, first overall. I don't know about all that. And here's the thing. If we don't get quarterback, I say trade down. Now, obviously, we'll have more draft shows in the future. But I do not want us to stick and pick Travis Hunter. I do not want us to stick and pick Abdul Carter. Like if we're trading down, or if we're picking someone who's not a quarterback, we have to trade down. But here's the thing: if we're trading down, we're gonna get a future first round pick. So I know you're gonna disagree with this, but now this is the best case scenario. If we trade down to pick 4 or 3, 5, 6, something like that, and we get a future first round, like say if the Giants have to give us another first round pick next year, they're going to suck because the Giants suck. They have no talent. Titans, well, we're still going to suck. And that doesn't, sadly, it don't matter if we get a rookie quarterback or get a veteran quarterback. We're going to suck next year unless we somehow overperform in a major way. So if we suck like we expect, and if say we try with the Giants and Giants suck, we could have 2 top 5 picks next year. And that gives us the ammo to get Arch Manning or whatever quarterback you're into. It's a bad year to need a quarterback, and that's what the issue is.
Yeah. The thing is, I think that situation you painted, though, there's so much that could go wrong with it. It doesn't matter who you trade with. You still can't guarantee you're going to be picking top 5. Yeah, because Giants could easily suck and be picking 6 or 7. And then even at 6 and 7, you're not getting yourself a quarterback, most likely, at 6 or 7. So, I mean, I still think you are playing such a gamble. Well, to me, the odds are most likely favored that you're not going to draft yourself a top quarterback in the next year's draft. Unless you think
here's the thing. If we pick a quarterback at 7, that's probably going to be a way better quarterback than Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Because here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want us to stick and pick Cam Ward. We're hot garbage again. We only win 4 games. Arch Manning comes out in the draft the next year, but guess what? Oh, we got to give Cam Ward another try. And then suddenly we don't draft Arch Manning because he's sitting right there, or just some other quarterback who's a way better prospect than Cam Ward. And that's what my biggest fear is. It really is. Like if we had a better team and just needed average quarterback play, and we would be picking top 10 to 15 instead, I wouldn't be as worried about it. But sadly, and it's hard for me to say since free agency hasn't even happened yet, but we're probably going to be hot garbage next year.
But here's the thing: I don't think we will be hot garbage. I think we're going to miss the playoffs. But here's what I say. We talked about we don't have a horrible team. Our team roster is not the worst team in the league. We have a roster. It's just that's how bad Will Levis was. If healthy, if Cushionberry's healthy, if Peter Skronsky plays like he did at the end of last year, if JC Latham plays, the same or even better, our offensive line could be a lot better. We talked about what we could do with our offensive line this offseason. Our offensive line could look pretty good. You put a Kirk Cousins there, or you put a capable quarterback there, they're gonna look decent. We could maybe address the receivers. Our defense wasn't bad last year. We could easily be an 8-9 team. I don't think we're gonna. Again, I'm saying we missed the playoffs, but we could easily be better with a decent bridge quarterback kind of guy. And 8 wins, you see it, we'll be top 10, picking 10, 11, 12, something like that. So I just think that just takes us way out of the quarterback conversation, in my opinion. And maybe once again, I'm overselling the Titans here and how good
You
we
might
could
be. But at the same time, the other thing you got to think about in that perfect scenario I painted out is if we are trading down with the Giants,
Yeah,
the Giants are only going to win 4 games and we get their pick.
Yeah.
But we didn't draft Patrick Mahomes. We could have drafted Patrick Mahomes, but guess what? We didn't because we had Marcus Mariota. We're like, oh, we think he could still be the guy. Still give him some time. And that's what I'm afraid we'll do. I'm afraid there'll be just a nice quarterback. Because a lot of times there's a lot of, I won't call them one-year wonders, but like Joe Burrow only had one good season in college.
It was a good season, though.
A very good season, and that's why he's number 1 overall pick. So there might be some quarterback like that just pops out of nowhere.
One thing, though, and I will say, people are falling off the Shadir bandwagon so much. The only thing I didn't like about him was his attitude, but last year he really buttoned it up and he was a lot better. But Shadir was, in my opinion, really good with a crappy offensive line. See, normally in college, it's the opposite. You have a player that plays so well, and when they go to NFL, they don't look so good. You're like, what happened? Like, well, they don't have great receivers and a great offensive line anymore. Well, Shadir had okay receivers, and he had horrible running for his life offensive line, and he put up great numbers. Like, so what? I think our offensive line could look a lot better this year. Well, give him a decent offensive line. Let's see what this guy looks like. I think he'd be really good. I'm not out on him. I really do like Shadir a lot. Cam Ward scares me a little bit. As soon as someone compared him to Will Levis, I was with like, get him out.
That's all
Now,
for me.
you have to agree that his numbers, like he threw 30-something touchdowns this year. Will Levis was like a 19, 18 touchdown kind of guy. So his numbers are way better than Will Levis. But still, just to compare him to Will Levis scares the crap out of me.
I agree. If someone would compare him to anybody else in the league, they could have said Nathan Peterman, and I'd be like, okay. But saying Will Levis to us, of all people, that didn't do good for my soul. So I'll be honest, I'm still undecided. What I exactly want but just the thought of us trading down, getting like Abdul Carter, who's supposed to be a very nice edge rusher.
You think we can still get him at 5 or 6?
Maybe not 5 or 6, but if we trade down to 3 with the Giants, 100%. Because if we trade down to 3, actually, here's my biggest issue with trading down to 3. The Browns, if they have to trade away Myles Garrett, they might pick up Abdul Carter number 2.
Yeah.
And I've already voiced.
If I was the Browns, I feel like you literally didn't really do anything to make your team better.
No.
You got rid of one elite pass rusher because he's still good. You look at his numbers; he's still playing great. So you just get rid of one elite pass rusher and get another one. And so you really just swap. You don't make your team any better with that pick. But go ahead.
I do agree there.
I don't want Abdul. I'll just say that I don't want him. But I will say, and if he kept Harold Landry, I know there's talk about trading him. But imagine Harold Landry, Abdul, Jeffrey Simmons, if he wants to play actually good, and Sweat. Like that is a good pass rush and slash defensive line. I will say
we've already got a really good cornerback room.
And I will say that almost sounds tempting, but you got to admit, our problem is the offense, not the defense at all. So,
yeah, I mean, I do agree, but you're going to disagree with me on this point. But to me, if we trade down, that's my number 1 candidate. Would be Abdul Carter.
Actually, it's funny. I just want nothing to do with him, to be honest, because I just said that. Like, that sounds good, but like, no, our pass getting him makes our team no better. Like going into the year, I project us to win 6 games. That's just a random number. 6 wins. We get him, I still 6 wins. I don't think he equals another win. I think We just don't need him. He won't. I think a tackle, a
Say we
quarterback.
don't need him.
We don't need him with that pick.
We
Like
have
we need a pass
neglected the
rusher.
edge for way too long. Arden Key is a situational player who's just a full-time starter. Harold Landry, sadly, hopefully this isn't him, but the second half of the season, he fell off a cliff.
He did. I will give
So
you
if
that.
we're getting no pass rush from our edge, don't matter how good our cornerbacks are, if they have all day to stand there and throw, that's that. We've drafted, I'm sure you've heard the stat, Austin Stanley on A to Z Sports like to say it. We've drafted two in the Titans era. We've drafted two edge rushers in the first round. I don't know. So yeah, he's my number one target if we trade back. But I also said at the beginning, I am against sticking and picking for Abdul Carter at pick 1. I don't want that.
Man, there's so many options. I feel like you and I are on different sides on every single option, but there is so many options you have with pick number 1. Of
And the
who
one
you can stick and pick. What?
I think we agree on one thing though, and it's not Travis Hunter. It can't be Travis Hunter.
I never was on that bandwagon. Never.
Because he is not going to be offense in the NFL. He's just not. No. It's never happened before. A player gets to play a crap ton, majority. Sheesh, I can't think of the word. A majority of the snaps on both sides of the ball. It's never happened. It never will. So he's most likely going to be a corner. We don't need a corner. We have a really nice corner room.
And who picks a cornerback that early? You know what I mean?
First overall, I agree. So no to Travis Hunter. Actually, I'll be honest with you. Even if we traded back to like 4 or 5 and Travis Hunter was there, I still don't think that's.
I'm not interested in that, to be honest. I'm just not.
At that point, that's when you take the number 1 tackle or the number 1 wide receiver, or if Abdul Carter slides all that way, you take him. You do not. I'm just against him for the Titans in particular. For another team, he'll be fantastic. But anyways, we're supposed to be talking about offense. And then suddenly I knew we were going to do this and start talking about what we should do with the first overall pick. But basically all I'm saying is imagine a world where we traded down to pick 4, 5, 6, 7, not 7, but 3 to 6. We get a top of the line edge rusher. We have a nasty defense. We suck. Our pick is number 7 now. We traded it with the Giants, let's say. They suck. They have the number 2 pick. And then we go into next offseason with the 7th and the 2nd overall pick. How juicy is that?
Juicy, yes. That is, what you paint is like, yeah, that would be good, but there's to me, just as likely, if not more likely chance that's not going to happen. So that's the problem.
Why is that?
Because I don't
who do you think is going to be good? Do you think Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders is going to make the Giants win 8-9 games?
I like Shadur. Remember, I want to stick and pick him, so I like Shadur. I like the Giants head coach. I still think it'd be good with a good offensive coordinator, with a good quarterback, because I think he's a good at play call. Now, by the way, I'm saying they still missed the playoffs because they're in a tough division here. But it would not shock me. Giants win 5 or 6 games. Yeah, of course they can.
Well, most seasons 5 or 6 gives you a top 5 pick. This was the one season forever that there were teams who only won like 5 games and were picking 12. Like that was just a bad, because there's so many horrendous football teams this year.
I still say, again, I'm not saying it will happen, but I think it's most likely the Giants will be picking 5 or 6, which is still bad. But are you going to get a quarterback with that? I don't think so. You're going to have to trade back up a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, though. If we have 2 picks, then if they're picking 5 or 6, we're picking 3 or 4 or 5.
I see. Part of me says, we could use that to trade up. But the other part of me says, man, if we had pick 4, then pick 10, that would be.
If we even have to trade up, though, because what if there are other teams who have a quarterback? Like, what if the Patriots are really bad again, but they're not moving off of Drake May? They're not picking a quarterback. Also, more than likely, next year is going to be way more than just 1.5 first-round talents. Like next year, there's probably going to be like this season we just finished, where there's the Bo Nix, the Michael Penix, the Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb. Well, there's 6 people right there that went top 15. 6.
And most of them look decent.
Most of them look decent. We have the worst luck in the world with which year we need a quarterback. We needed a quarterback in the Kenny Pickett year. Kenny Pickett was the only one in the first round. He was in the 20s. He got traded to Philly. We got Malik Willis, who dropped all the way to the 3rd. He got traded to the Packers. We have Desmond Ridder, dropped all the way to the. Did he go 2nd? He may have actually gone in the 2nd round. 2nd or 3rd, doesn't matter. He got traded to the Raiders. Was it the Raiders? I think it was Raiders. They were terrible, but that was the year we needed a quarterback. Then we have last year, loaded quarterback class. And we didn't need a quarterback quite yet. And then now we got this. 1.5. But we'll see. We're 40 minutes in.
I told you we were good at talking, man. But
Or
anyway,
bad.
so you and I just have different opinions. So with quarterback, I say stick and pick, and then get a free agent quarterback. That's just that's just my opinion. And I think you all get a free agent that's gonna suck. And that's another thing. I think you and I. This is another opinion that we disagree on. You and I disagree with how good we will be with a Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, or Aaron Rodgers. I really do think we'll be. And I say decent loosely, like still losing record, but I think we'll be decent. Because Will Levis was horrible, horrible, horrible. And I think with give him a decent Cousins, like you said, he was doing all right before injury. He was. Give him that. If our offside can be decent, yeah, there's no reason we can't win 7 or 8 games. In my
Guess
opinion.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I guess we'll
so
see.
Your final verdict is what on quarterback? I'm stick and pick. You for quarterback.
I'm so confused. I really don't
So
know.
you don't have an answer. Okay, cool.
Let me put it this way: if we get that beautiful trade back that I just talked about, I don't want Derek Carr. Yeah, I mean, if that happened just the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, so if we trade the first round to the Giants, you'd be doing a little dance.
I'd be doing a little dance, and I would be rooting so hard against the Giants all season long. Because I did that with the time we traded our first round to the Rams, and I knew whatever the Rams were going to have. Was it the Rams?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Because then we got Corey Davis in 2017 with the 5th overall pick. So I was rooting against the Rams so hard every single game. What was that?
We did. Corey Davis, we blew that.
Yeah. Apparently, J-Rob did not want to stick and pick. He was doing everything he could to trade down, and nobody wanted to trade down with him, so he just had to pick Corey Davis with the 5th overall pick. But anyways, if we, let's say to close out this video because we're 41 minutes in, if we get to trade back and have that beautiful situation I talked about, I would be okay with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to come to Tennessee. If we did, I'd be okay with giving the guy a 1-year deal. Or Kirk Cousins. I'm okay with either of those. Derek Carr sounds boring. Sam Darnold, I'm 100% out on. So it'd either be Aaron Rodgers or...
well, one thing, Sam Darnold's looking to be a starter long-term somewhere, so he's not going to want no 1-year deal.
No.
And Kirk Cousins, don't we have to trade to get him?
He's probably getting cut. They're not going to pay him all that money. So? Yeah, they're not going to pay him all that money to be a backup. And then the last thing I will say, keep an eye on my boy Marcus Mariota.
That would be cool. I'd be okay with that. Well, no, I want to stick and pick, but I'd be almost okay with that.
But imagine if we actually went Mariota and Cam Ward or Mariota and Shedeur Sanders, so Mariota got to play for like 4 or 5 games, and then we bench him again.
Okay
bench him again.
Well, here's the thing: Callahan's more, he is an offensive mind. Mariota had to deal with Malarkey and Vrabel. So
Terry Robisky.
Yeah, exactly. So with Callahan, I'm like, maybe he could do something. I would say Mariota has looked better away from Tennessee than he did with us, I think.
Yeah, he was okay with the Falcons for the half year, but they were just looking for excuse to get Revan for Desmond Ridder.
Exactly.
But then he was really good in the 2 games he played for the Commanders this year. So, but anyways, so keep an eye out on Marcus Mariota. I'd be okay with us. Yeah, it was just a 1-year deal.
Okay.
Okay.
To be honest, I bet I can see the Commanders I can see the Commanders wanting to bring him back.
Yeah, he was a perfect mentor and definitely was a Jaden Daniels hype man.
Yeah, he was.
For sure.
They seem to have good chemistry though, so yeah, I can see them wanting that.
They did. And I don't even think Mario, just bless his heart, I don't even think he's trying to start anymore.
And I don't know if he would want to go back to Tennessee, to be honest. I don't know. Some people wouldn't want to do that.
He might, just because everything's different, minus ownership.
Yeah.
Everything's different. But yeah, if it was still Vrabel, I think he'd be much less likely. He'd be much less likely to come back to Tennessee. So that's going to be a crazy offseason. I just don't want us to botch. If we stick at number 1, we stick and we pick somebody like Travis Hunter, where I'm like, yay, we have Travis Hunter, a cornerback with the 1st overall pick. So now either Cheeto gets benched, who we're paying $12 million a year for, or maybe we bench Roger McCreary for the slot, even though Roger McCreary has been really good for us. Like that would be so upsetting.
That'd be the worst thing. I would burn my Titan hats and stuff. That'd be the worst thing to do, to be honest. That'd be such a terrible thing to do.
Don't put it past the Titans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, is there anything we need to say before we get on out of here now that we've been rambling for 44.5 minutes?
Nope, I'm good. Let's get out of here, buddy.
All right. Guess guess we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting offseason. It's kind of fun that we have the number 1 pick. Gives us something else to talk about. An extra little wrinkle to the offseason. So tighten up, peace out, and all that jazz.